Welcome to today's training video where we are going to cover an overview of the programs for foster youth. This is our agenda for today. We will go over the foster youth programs, the Chafee Grant, the Chafee Grant awarding process, and end it with web grants for students. Let's begin with a few of our foster youth programs. While the Cal Grant B has been around for quite some time now, the AB 1809 trailer bill extends the application window, application deadline, and lifetime Cal Grant eligibility for foster youth receiving a Cal Grant B who were in foster care at any point since age 13. Foster status is automatically verified by the California Department of Social Services, or CDSS. Now, one of the expansions for Cal Grant B for foster youth is that foster youth students are still eligible for the high school entitlement, or the E1 award, if they are under age 26 at the start of the award year when they submit a high school GPA. Non-foster youth students usually only have a 2-year window to qualify for the E1 award as high school seniors and prior year graduates, but foster youth students have a much larger application window. Next, foster youth students are also given a maximum eligibility amount of up to 8 years or 800% of full-time enrollment, as opposed to a traditional 4 years or 400% eligibility for non-foster students. This means that a foster student who is awarded as a freshman in college could receive this award for up to 8 years until they receive their bachelor's degree instead of the traditional 4 years. And finally, the Cal Grant application deadline for non-foster students is on March 2nd, but foster youth students can take advantage of the September 2nd deadline if they are attending a California community college. The next program is the Foster Youth Access Award. This Access Award was created for current or former foster youth attending California public colleges or private nonprofit institutions with the goal of enabling more foster students to receive financial aid and attend college. Students must be in foster care on or after age 13 and must be no older than 25 years of age at the start of the academic year. The Foster Youth Access Award is an add-on to either the Cal Grant A, B, or C, which means it adds or increases the Access Award to the base award amount according to enrollment level. Now, Cal Grant A does not typically come with an Access Award, but Cal Grant A students who were in foster care will now receive a new Access Award of up to $6,000. Foster youth with a Cal Grant B will also receive an increased access award of up to $6,000, and Cal Grant C recipients are eligible for up to $4,000 in foster youth access funds. Now, students who qualify for both the Foster Youth Access Award and students with dependents will be auto-selected for the Foster Youth Access Award. Next is the Students with Dependents Award. Students attending California community colleges, California state universities, and University of California campuses, as well as private nonprofit schools who have dependent children under 18 years of age for whom they provide more than 50% support can qualify for the Students with Dependents Award. While this award is not specific to foster students with a qualifying child may be eligible, and students who receive the Cal Grant B for foster youth and have a qualifying child could even receive this award for up to 8 years or until they receive their bachelor's degree based on the new Cal Grant B for foster youth expansion. Now, preliminary eligibility is initially determined by the dependent children question on the FAFSA and on the California DREAM Act application, which states, do you now have or will you have children who will receive more than half of their support from you? Students who answer yes to this question are then required to certify their eligibility via their web grants for students portals, which we will go over towards the end of the presentation. The new Access Award pays up to $6,000 for qualifying Cal Grant A or Cal Grant B recipients, or up to $4,000 for eligible Cal Grant C recipients. As mentioned earlier, students who qualify for both the Foster Youth Access Award and students with dependents will be auto-selected for the Foster Youth Access Award. Now let's move on to the Chafee Grant, which have different qualifications than our other foster youth programs. Administered by the Commission through an interagency agreement with the California Department of Social Services, or CDSS, the Chafee Grant pays $5,000 annually to help foster youth pay for college or career technical training. It is also a federally and state-funded grant that is subject to annual availability of funds. Now let's talk about how students can be eligible for the Chafee Grant. To be eligible for the Chafee Grant, students need to be a current or former foster youth living in foster care for at least 1 day between the ages of 16 and 18. Note that kin gap, non-related legal guardianship, and adoptions are not eligible unless the student was also living in foster care for at least 1 day between the ages of 16 and 18. Students must also be under age 26 years of age at the start of the award year on July 1st. And additionally, students can participate in the Chafee Grant program for up to 5 years. Each academic year that a payment greater than $1 is issued counts as 1 year of paid participation. Now, participation does not have to occur in consecutive academic years, so students who want to put the award on hold should work with their financial aid office to suspend payments for a future term or a future school year. Next, the following requirements do not apply to the Chafee Grant, so students are not required to apply by March 2nd. CSAC will accept applications through July 31st of each year. Students do not have to have a Social Security number, so our DREAMAC applicants are also eligible for the Chafee Grant. Students do not need to have graduated or get a high school GED. They do not need to submit a GPA or register for selective service, and so on. Now, these exceptions are specific to the Chafee Grant. Therefore, students applying for the Cal Grant and other types of aid must still meet applicable deadlines and requirements. You'll notice on this slide that there are several aspects about the Chafee Grant that make it very different from our other traditional financial aid. Since the Chafee Grant is both federally and state funded, and because it falls under the umbrella of Health and Human Services, Chafee funds are not earmarked specifically for tuition and fees or even books and supplies. In fact, Chafee funds can be used towards rent or housing, transportation, childcare, or towards grad school or teacher certification. Additionally, the Chafee Grant is the only California aid award that is payable at qualifying out-of-state colleges. Now let's see what the awarding process for the Chafee Grant looks like. The Chafee Grant is special wherein it has 3 application requirements. First, in order to initially receive and to renew the Chafee Grant, students must submit a FAFSA or a CADA every year. Second, they must also submit a Chafee Grant application only one time. Reminder that students can submit their Chafee applications until July 31st of each year. And then third, students need to be verified through CDSS of their foster care status, which is done within a month of submitting a FAFSA or a CADA and the Chafee application. If you encounter a student whose foster status has not been confirmed, help your student submit the foster youth verification form so that CDSS can manually review and update the data. We'll take a look at that process in the following slides. On our CSAC website, the Chafee Grant Overview page for students also provides 3 forms that students might need. The first form is the Foster Care Verification Form. Students can submit the Foster Care Verification Form if their foster status is not automatically verified through CDSS. It is online fillable and can be saved and emailed as an attachment to the County Foster Youth Contact Person. The second form is the ILP County Contact Information. If a student does not have the contact information for their caseworker, independent living coordinator, or probation officer, students can start with the ILP County Contact Information List. Finally, the Chafee Grant Update or Change form allows students to change their name, date of birth, or social security number. Occasionally, students who meet Chafee criteria but are not verified by the CDSS is because there is a discrepancy in the data provided on the Chafee Grant application and the data contained in CDSS records. An example of that is when students input their social security number incorrectly or their name has changed. If this is the case, students should submit the Chafee update and change form. Now this is what the foster care verification form looks like. As a reminder, students needing manual verification of foster status should send this to the county. The form will be routed to the various channels and will be ultimately verified by CDSS. CSAC then updates the student records on the Chafee database. Now the Chafee Grant program does have a priority awarding hierarchy. Students have fulfilled all three application components by completing a FAFSA or a DREAMAC application, a Chafee Grant application, and those whose foster youth status was verified by CDSS will be prioritized automatically in web grants based on the following criteria. First to be paid a Chafee Grant award are paid renewal students. These are students that have previously received a Chafee payment. Next to be paid are new applicants and non-paid renewal students who will be 25 years old as of July 1st of the award year. Next are non-paid renewal students. And finally, the last to be paid in the hierarchy are new applicants under the age of 25. Due to this hierarchy, Chafee Grant operates using recycled funds. Eligible students who are not awarded in the year they apply are waitlisted until they rise towards the top of the awarding hierarchy. As financial aid staff certify ineligible students who are not in attendance, not attending at least half-time, or are not making satisfactory academic progress, those awards will be withdrawn from ineligible students and recycled and re-awarded to waitlisted students. Finally, we will take a look at web grants for students. Once a student has submitted their financial aid application, the next step they should take is to create a Web Grants for Students account to follow up on their Cal Grant, Middle Class Scholarship, or Chafee Grant status. The student portal can be created approximately 10 days after their application was submitted and fully processed. Web Grants for Students enable students to track the status of their application, confirm that their GPA was received, check for any pending requirements that could hold up application processing, report a school change or leave of absence, or update their contact information. As mentioned in the previous slide, one of the grants students can keep track of on their Web Grants for Students account is their Chafee application status. Right away in this example, as you see on the screen, we see that the student's application status is incomplete. If you open up the details, we see a few reasons. The FAFSA or the CADA was not submitted, and their foster youth status was not automatically verified by CDSS. So in this case, the student is being prompted to complete the foster care verification form, which again you can find on our CSAC website. Students can do a school change on their Web Grants for Students account. Students can use the drop-down to change their school of attendance for just the Chafee Grant or for both the Chafee Grant and the Cal Grant if needed. If the student cannot find their school on the Chafee online application or on their student portal, they can email the Chafee team at chafee@csac.ca.gov for a new school setup. On the screen, you will see the following documents that CSAC will need from the student. Students can also make some updates and changes via Web Grants for Students. However, protected fields such as name, date of birth, and social security number can only be changed by submitting the Chafee Program Update and Change form, which can be found on our CSAC website. And finally, here are a few next steps for our students. First, they should submit a FAFSA or a CADA every year by the priority deadline no later than March 2nd. All students should apply for financial aid regardless of income, since not all aid are income-based. Students who were in foster care between the ages of 16 and 18 should also complete the Chafee Grant application, which they only have to do one time. And after completing their financial aid application, students should create a Web Grants for Students account to complete any pending tasks and to claim their awards. Finally, students should attend a free virtual or in-person Cash for College workshop for assistance with their FAFSA, their CADA, or even their Chafee Grant application. The many volunteers that help at these workshops are very knowledgeable with the financial aid process, so students should take advantage and attend at least one Cash for College event to get their questions answered. Links to virtual and in-person Cash for College workshops have been provided at the bottom of the screen for you. Please sign up for a local Cash for College event near you. And if you have any questions after this training, please reach out to the following contacts for any questions. And if you haven't done so already, please remember to subscribe to our listserv so you are up to date with any changes and deadlines. It is our main line of communication to high school and college counselors, other financial aid advisors, as well as to our students and families. Thank you and see you in the next video.